Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the arena. This is Snuffed out in red versus the minions in blue. And Bess, can you tell me about the setups they brought?
Yeah, so they've both brought two very interesting setups. Snuff bringing two Tempest Fleet issues paired with two Astartes, so they've got four strong top-end gunboats with strong links from the Astartes, and then a Deacon and a single Inquisitor. So they've mixed and matched the logic there, Tech 2 and Tech 1, and then two Vengeances and two presumably Newt Vexors. You get a lot of utility out of those Vexors. Meanwhile, the minions have opted for their trademark, the Zarmaz, very characteristic from them. And then two Absolutions, two Nurgles, three Orgron Navies, Magus, and a Sentinel. So two rather unusual comps here.
Yeah, already seeing Ancars in the Sentinel taking damage there. Like these Tempest Fleet issues, they might be close range guns, but if they load the right ammo, they can actually shoot really far with their Fallout.
Yeah, but we're seeing the Snuffed Out team burning in here. They want to close some range and get. I'm going to assume these are almost certainly autocannon Tempest fleets, and they want to close as much range as possible so they can pump out as much DPS as possible. And that's exactly what they're doing. Meanwhile, the minions are, they're not really burning straight away. They're just sort of kiting off to the side, staying fairly compact. But
wait, yeah, these Tempest Fleet issues are just burning straight in. They're looking to brawl. Like this is Snuff. They know how to pack a heavy punch, and that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, of course, the Zarmaz with fairly short range reps requires the minions to stay fairly compact, fairly bunched up. They can't really split up too much. But of course, that means if this devolves into a sort of all-out brawl, the Newt power coming from those Tempest Fleet issues can be very, very problematic for that Zarmaz.
Yeah, at this point, you're just seeing a lot of ships taking damage. Like they're trying to probe each other for weak tanks. Like these Vexors are Tech 1 ships, and they are a viable target. It's a good call for the minions, but let's see if they got enough repping power to repair them. So the thing is, it's Snuffed Out. In order to save points, they've downgraded one of their logic frigates to a Tech 1, and one is a Tech 2. So it's a bit mixed. What do you think about that?
Oh, it's unusual, isn't it, for sure? Because obviously, if you think one of them is better, but I guess it's just a point constraint because this is quite an unusual top-end comp. It's pretty rare that we see two combat battleships paired with two command ships as well. So I would imagine it's just very, very tight on points, and they had to make that substitute. Is it good? I have no idea. But the Vexor of... Okay, I normally pride myself on being pretty good at pronouncing names, but I have no idea how to say Flandherbite. That is really... Yeah, I have no idea how to say that one.
I know he's French, so it might be completely different in pronunciation than what we would expect it to be anyway. So I don't think there's any point in pronouncing it. And they're still just taking shots on different sides. Like one of the things the Snuff can exploit is that this Zarmaz only can focus and repair the main repair on one target. So they can try and split up between different targets and see if you can break something.
But they've got this Nurgle of Pierre Dunlones. Oh my god, they've all got horrible names. Is absolutely hard tackled by pretty much everything. There's two Vengeances and a Vexor on top of him. And of course, that Zarmaz is going to have to turn around and come back if he wants to rep him. And the minions and the rest of their team is just nowhere near him right now.
Yeah, but that Vexor is going down, so this is a nice lead for the minions to have. If they can clear off some DPS, they might actually be able to tank. But that Nurgle, like he's going to need his ADC, or he might have used.
He's already used it. He's already used it, and he's gone. So yeah, Snuffed out just in this very, threatening death ball here. They've got a lot of Newt pressure from these Tempest fleets. They've got a lot of damage. Once they get on top of you, it's very, very difficult. These Newt Vexors in particular. I want to talk a little bit about varying Newt sizes. Heavy Newts. If you stick a heavy Newt on a Deacon, it can just activate a cap booster and be fine. But medium Newts, multiple medium Newts, is a lot more difficult to deal with because the cycle time is so, they overlap, they're staggered, the Newts, and the cycle time is so short that it's very, very easy to cap out and keep them completely dry. And that Nurgle, the second Nurgle now is caught as well, and he's just getting absolutely pounced on by everything on the Snuffed outside.
I feel like this is really bad target calling for the Snuffed outside. Like these Tempest Fleet issues have large guns. They can apply well to bigger targets, not to these frigates. Like even if they're just shooting a Navy Ogre or Absolution, they're going to force the Logipile to make a choice. So make them shoot the big ships and then see if the Vexors and the Vengeance could take something small down. But they do actually manage to kill the Nurgle.
Yeah, I agree. On paper, it's maybe not ideal, but it's also a matter of what they can catch. And those Nurgles somehow ended up in a position where they got everything dogpiling on top of them, which is obviously not ideal if you're the Nurgle pilot. But Snuffed Out, seeing everything else is sort of 40, 50 kilometers away, or maybe even more, and the Nurgle is just right there, tackled down by everything, they say, okay, we'll take the freebie, clear up that Nurgle, and then let's move on to something else.
Yeah, but this does question, like, how did these Tempest Fleet issues get screened away from everything in the first place?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, Snuffed Out just charged in, but this minion squad, they, like I said, they've got to sort of stay compact and stay together, which, as a sort of knock-on effect, means they can't really delegate anyone to go out and screen something off. Because if the rep range from the Zarmaz is so short, if they go out and tackle something, they could, like as we saw with those Nurgles, they just get obliterated, and Zarmaz can't turn around and save them. But this Vengeance of Ladle is taking some pretty heavy chunks here. As this is the weakness of the Snuffed comp, is when they want to move across the arena, they have very very limited rep range from the Deacon and the Inquisitor, so it's very difficult to keep everything close together while they're traversing.
Looks like the Deacon got into range, and you can see that the Vengeance is catching reps again. And Chaos and the Sentinel is taking a bit damage, and we're seeing like a Vexa is burning form right away. So if you can take out that Sentinel, it might help a bit with the tracking on the Tempest.
But this Vengeance is critical now. Ladle goes down, but I think he might have done enough because he was just tackling down that Zarmaz, and as soon as he dies, the Tempest Fleet issue arrives on the scene and backs up gets the tackle on the Zarmaz again, and Jen Salak in the second Vengeance is also here. So the Zarmaz tries to escape, and they manage to kill off that Vengeance, but I think they might have held him down too long. The Zarmaz is now having a whole fleet of Snuffed Out boys just, swarming around him. There's a lot of rep bots, but there's almost as many Snuffed Out people.
Yeah, Snuffed Out, they have a point lead, but I also think like they have an advantage when it comes to what ships they still have remaining. They've lost a Vengeance and a Vexa, but they still have a main DPS, and they are on top of that Zarmaz. The Zarmaz is not going to live long. It's the tankiest Logi ship you can bring, but when you're having that much newt on it, it just won't survive long enough.
Yeah, and there's only one Tempest Fleet on him for the time being. Newt Michael's still a little bit away. He is making his way over, but once he arrives on the scene, obviously the Zarmaz will really disappear. It's just a matter of what the minions can try and accomplish in the meantime, but at the moment it doesn't look like they're getting too much done.
We're seeing Miss Kasia smart bombing the repair bots of the Zarmaz now, and they're rightfully stopping the smart bomb again. Oh no, they're not. So now they're smart bombing their own drones, so make sure to keep that in mind. And
the Zarmaz goes down. The Zarmaz goes down, so that's no more reps at all for the minions. I'm not sure if that's game deciding. There's still nearly 3 minutes left in this match and to swing the outcome here, but it's definitely going to make it more difficult for them. Look at this Magus now of Fittipaldi.
Yeah, I think this is game deciding because they struggled to break something before on the Snuff team, and now they have lost their own Logi, and we see they're already losing one of the link ships. They might actually get the Inquisitor, but at this point, I think it's just too late.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think you're right. Yeah, the Zarmaz reps were what was sort of holding them back. I mean, the two Nurgles were nowhere near the Zarmaz, and that's why they were able to kill them. But everything else, I think they looked at the Organavis, they looked at the Absolutions and said, nah, mate, we can't really deal with those while the Zarmaz is still alive. So they managed to pounce. And I want to shout out the two Vengeance pilots here, Ladle and Jen Salak. You guys did a fantastic job of getting on top of the primary target, enabling those Tempest Fleet issues to close range, apply the newts. And yeah, great job. Really fantastic tackle work there from you guys.
Yeah. As we've seen earlier, when you're bringing like these big brawly battleships, you need to have a good tackle wing, and certainly Vengeance is a good ship for that. It has a heavy tanky tackle, and in the hands of the right pilot, they can make a huge difference. So definitely shout out to them. And Snuff did lose both their Logis, but the Logi trade is a bad idea, or rather it's a bad trade for the minions because their own Tech 2 Logi is very much more expensive than the frigates of Snuff, so Snuff still have the damage ship advantage.
Yeah, I mean, minions at this point, they can kill off a few stragglers, they can kill off an Inquisitor, but ultimately this match is already decided. With the sheer amount of damage left, they've still got their two Tempest Fleets, they've still got those two Astartes, although this Matt Riley in this Astarte has taken some not insignificant damage here. He's cycling his presumably active Repper, but yeah, he is still taking some damage from these Absos.
Yeah, he's taking damage, but has 1 minute remaining, and still doing a lot of damage to that Organa Navy issue. So at this point, even if the minions somehow get an advantage, they just can't kill stuff fast enough to get the point advantage.
Yeah. like you said about the Vengeances, I just want to talk about those a little bit, really, because I mean, I know we've seen a lot of Shield Kite comps, but I'm surprised at how few Vengeances we've seen. We've seen a bunch of Confessors. I think we've seen a few Svipples, but I don't think they were armor. But I really expected to see more Vengeances in this tournament. It seems like such a strong 4-point option if you need a tackle frigate, and it's the kind of thing where if you're fielding, like you said, 2 Tempest Fleet issues, 2 Lashaks, these sort of comps, having a Vengeance that can burn in, tackle something, and presses ADC and survive for 15, 20 seconds is very, very useful, and we haven't really seen teams use them.
Yeah, the Vengeance is definitely a good choice with that. I think it's the best tackle ship you can get for 4 points, as it offers a really good tank. It has capless guns and an energy Nosferatu, so can stay on the target as well. And match is over, leading this to Snuffed out winning the match, as the minions' hope for prize ships were snuffed out. Back to the studio.